So nice.
There we are. Hello, Kurdy.
Hello.
I'm so excited for this. So I sent out a short bio on Kurdy when we sent this out. She's a designer, teacher, and owner of Threedle's Needle Art Design. And you have a teaching certificate from NAN, which we had heard that process from
Jeanette.
Jennifer talked about it, and I can't remember the other lady's name who talked about it. So that was pretty cool. And then you've had a lot of awards from almost all of the organizations and published and have done a lot of teaching. So
it's going well. What can I say?
Very well, yeah. So how did you get started? Did you start with a love of stitching, or did you dive right into designing, or?
I stitched from probably the time I was 8. And my mom and dad in Virginia would go to the Surveyors Conference in Williamsburg every year and bring home those little samplers of the different taverns and whatnot. And that's how I started. I would take my other 2 sisters and do all 3 of them. And until I moved to Colorado, I had a horse business, but in Colorado, I needed something new to do. So John said, why don't you try designing?
I've got
so here we are.
Talking.
I'm on mute.
Okay.
And, he might have regretted telling me to design, because then he had to teach me how to use the programs on the computer. But we're here 10 years later, and it's going well.
10 years, okay.
Yeah.
So what's your process for designing? Do you get an idea? Do you draw it out first? Do you stitch it first? How do you go through your design process?
I usually start with an idea, and then I draw everything on Visio on the computer, and then I start stitching. I cannot draw. You can't ask me to draw a stick figure and see what it looks like. So, I draw it all on the computer, and then I pull a whole lot of threads and sit down and start stitching. I don't do a typical, color rendering or drawing of what it's supposed to look like. I just have something generally in my head that says, I think I'd like this to be this color, and go for it that way. But I do draw it all. And like, sometimes you find really cool things. Here's a silly sheet of paper. Isn't that cool?
That is cool.
Yeah. It just struck my imagination the other day when I saw it on Facebook. So I had to print it out. So, at some point you might see something with a moon and a dragonfly and go, I know where that came from. Of course, it won't look a whole lot like that, but it's a cool concept.
Very cool.
That's it.
So what was your first design? Do you have that there somewhere?
Yep, let's see if it'll pop in. You guys tell me if you see it. Does it pop in so you can see? Let me hit share screen. Oops. There. Is it there for you guys, or just me?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to figure this sharing the photos out one day here. So that is seasonal rays, and you can tell, those of you that know my designs, it's really sort of square, isn't it?
It's very square.
Yeah, it's sort of boring, but you have to start somewhere.
I wouldn't call it boring.
I know, it's just a little repetitious, but you have to start somewhere, and figure out how to use the tools, right? There we go. And then this is my favorite design still, and this was probably my 3rd design, and this is cat's eyes. And you can tell between 1 and 2 that once I really got started, I branched out pretty quickly.
What's this one called again?
Cat's eyes.
Cat's eyes. Okay.
Okay.
That's cool.
It's I love it, but here you got to check it out. See the cat?
Oh, okay.
So I've often wondered if our brains try to make shapes that look like something to us.
Huh.
I know. He's pretty funky though, isn't he?
Yeah.
He looks rather mean, like maybe you didn't feed him dinner. But while we're talking about that one, we're just going to go to a different view. And I want you to look and see that it has all these octagons, right?
Uh-huh.
And now we're going to go back like this. And what's in the middle here? So talking about designs, right? Or how you design. I like that octagon. So I took it and made up 5 more. So with this design, you got to choose from 6 different ones in the chart. So everybody's would be a little different. But that sort of, sometimes you just get an idea and it's like, well, these are cool, but I could take 4 of them and do this. So
very cool.
It's just sort of interesting. And then because I have to stitch 3 of them for retail pieces, I always do 3 colorways. I also gave you more little squares here so that I wouldn't be so bored as I stitched all 3 of them.
So how hard is it to, if you've got an idea in your head of what you think the stitches are going to be and what color you think when you're stitching it, how hard is it to come up with the alternate colorways from the one you designed it off of?
That's a really good question. Sometimes it's very, very hard. Sometimes, generally when I'm designing it, I have an idea. But if you guys remember the lady that used to work at Diversions named Pat, she was not always very friendly, but I walked in there and I showed her this, that we were pulling threads for me. And she goes, oh, you ought to do the, 4 colors of gold. And I'm like, what a great idea. So sometimes you'll just get an idea and go with it. The other colorways of this one, I like one, but I don't like the other. So it is, sometimes you have some really good ideas for 1 or 2, but more than that, it becomes harder sometimes.
Do you do all the stitching of all your pieces?
I have done all but 3. Alita did the other 2, and a lady Ann Brewer in Phoenix did the other one. But yes, I do it all because when I do the second colorway, let's flop here. Okay, so this would be colorway 1 of Cathedral, but this is the last one I did. And here's the next colorway.
We're still seeing the 4 octagons.
Okay. I forgot to hit the little arrow. There we go. So you can see between the 2 that I did things totally different. So when I do the different colorways, I don't say, okay, this is very velvet, so when the next one, it has to be very velvet. Does that make sense? I just pull threads and go for it.
Okay, it's still not displaying though. I'm sorry.
I'm not seeing it.
So it's very hard to send it off to someone else to stitch unless you've already decided what's going where. Does that make sense?
It does, but we're still not seeing it.
It's still not there?
No, it kind of flashed, but it went back to the octagons.
Okay, well, what we're going to do is, there you go.
Now we got like the big circle.
Yep.
Okay.
So that is one colorway, and here's the second.
Okay.
So these are actually almost all Treenway silks. You guys know Susan and Littleton, right?
Uh-huh.
So I did those mostly with hers. So you can see that there's a big difference between the types of threads used. So therefore, I guess I'm too controlling. I have a hard time sending it out and saying, you figure it out. So, um, but this one is very interesting because these two colorways, I would say, sell almost equally.
Hmm.
Usually there's an obvious first, and on this one, it's not. Now,
Huh.
the third one doesn't sell as well, but these two sell very equally. And my husband named this Cathedral. And I guess some of you have probably seen the box, but I told him if it was going to be a cathedral, it had to be lit from behind. So he built it a light box, and you can turn on Christmas tree lights behind it at night and it glows.
Oh, how cool.
Yeah, it's really excellent. It weighs a ton, but it looks really nice. So, so he doesn't give me ideas like that anymore. It's like, huh. So, let's go. I'm going to make sure. There we go. So here's Pangea. So Pangea came after the octagon one. So, those little, it's hard to explain. They hang outside and they blow in the breeze and they're like little pieces of wood that you twist, right?
Cords.
Yeah, exactly. There's the word. So I wanted to go similar to that for this. And that's how it worked out. And it seems really simple, but at the time, it was like my fifth, sixth piece. Getting it all laid out was difficult. Now, I would think that's a piece of cake, but, and this one on this colorway is definitely the all-time leading favorite. And it's on a bag. And I have had so many people try to buy this bag off of me. It's amazing.
I tried to take it away from you.
Yes, you did. It's just, and my friend Sue made it, and it's just beautiful. And it has been carried around, since 2015 or something? A long
How many
time.
different colorways do you have for this one?
It has three. It has one that is pinks and browns. And then it has the tranquil ocean with whites and blues.
Hmm.
The blues are the second. But now and with the sort of raspberry and brown coming a really close third. So that's it's very interesting. But the fall colors seem to be a pretty universal like.
Yeah, it's a beautiful piece.
Yeah, but I think color sells a piece as much as anything else.
Yeah. Now this one has a ton of crystals on it. Was this when you first started using crystals, or had you used them before?
This one, I used some in cat's eyes, a little more in a different view. So this one definitely steps up, right? As far as it has, some reason, I think it has about 270.
Wow.
And I will say that I have carried this bag since we did seminar in Santa Fe, right? So that's been a while. And only like 3 crystals are loose or have fallen off. So I don't think that's bad for every show it's been to and every suitcase it's been packed in and all. So, and how many people have taken it off the wall at a trade show and went walking away with it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, don't mind me. I'll just take this. But so I think this was 14 or 15. So obviously I was sort of getting away from everything has to be in a box, right? Yeah.
So where in the process did you get your certification?
Probably right about this time frame. I started, okay, let me do this. So this is 10, 11, 12. I think I started doing it in 2012 and graduated in 20, so 12, yeah, in 2015, because it
Okay.
takes 3 years. And I told everybody if I was going to do it, I was going to muscle through and do it in 3 years and be done. Um, so that really started the downfall of some of the retail pieces because one can only do so much in a year, right? So when you start doing up to this point, I was only doing, charts to be sold in stores. And once you start doing the teaching pieces, it really takes a slide down pretty much. But going through a teaching certification, I think would be good for everybody, whether you wanted to teach or not. The teaching or judging, it just makes you think of things differently.
So we talked, like I said, to Jennifer, and I still can't remember her name.
Jeanette.
Yes, thank you, Jeanette, about it. And I know Jeanette commented about, they have guidelines that you need to do of what each step needs to be. Did they take your design style into account for those guidelines?
Yes and no. I was allowed to do a certification in geometrics. But you should have seen me designing my first piece that all had to be straight lines.
Ugh.
Oh yeah, I sat here with like this old needlepoint book. And it had to have basket weave. And I'm like, I don't do basket weave.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah, so that was amusing. The looks on their faces was totally humorous, but it makes you think about things differently, which is always good. And I really enjoyed it, and I met good friends, and I was just talking to Debbie Mytek the other day from Michigan, and that's where we met, and now we room together if we have to, if we're at the same place. So it's a nice way to learn things and meet people.
Cool.
I'm thinking.
Do you have a piece that you think would be considered the most popular from students who take it, or is that hard to figure out?
Yes, no, I can tell you exactly what the most popular class I have is. We're just going to go forward because they don't like to. That one right there, Elegance Cube.
Okay.
I have taught it so many times, and I just finished up teaching it for the Canadian virtual EGA class. We finished last week.
And what is the name again?
Elegance Cube.
Thank you.
Elegance Cube.
Thank you.
And because you took it and you wrapped it up into a cube, right? And it's very elegant, it's very pretty. It is definitely the favorite. With the next one would be the Blue Ridge Reflections piece.
Oh yeah. I saw somebody posted that on Facebook that they'd finished it.
Yep, we did that for Shining Needle this summer.
Okay.
And a lot of them have finished. I'm so impressed, but I guess we're all stuck at home, so people are finishing that. What I said earlier about the fall colors being so popular. So then I took the same shapes, right? All the squares are the same. And then I filled it in with new stitches and made autumn reflections. And that's been really, really popular. so
And those
far.
are just one colorway, right? Since it's
Yes,
spring
yes.
and autumn.
Well, and you know, when you're teaching a class, this has so many threads that I would spend the whole time looking up to see what everybody else was supposed to be doing, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it has so many. Now, the next two I have pictures of, this is called Pearl Frost, and it's sort of modeled after a miniature cathedral. And then there's the gold version. So because I designed these for a class, right? I use the exact type of threads from one to the other. Obviously different colors, but one's your grandeur, one's your petite silk lame braid or your krynic. So it's easier to say, get out, you know, your krynic and let's do this. And you don't have to go krynic number 4, da, da, da. You just go for the type of thread. So when you're teaching, I find it to be easier to try to do things as exact substitutes because it's, you know, in a class situation, it's harder to flip through your book and find what color you're supposed to have.
Yeah.
But you
I
Pikes
have,
Peak lady, we did the pilot for this down in Pikes Peak, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
very
exactly.
cool.
Yeah.
I have a question that came through on the chat. They wanted to know how or why you did the 3D design on the cube. How'd you come up with the idea and what prompted it?
Great question. So I wanted to make an ornament that you didn't have to sew together or finish, right? And I had made a 4-sided ornament in 2011. And then in 2012, I did do a cube. So I did this as a cube, and people run out of wall space. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So for this, when you stitch it, it's all flat, right? And you can finish it in what, say about 45 minutes, anybody that's done one. So it's nice, and then it folds up. So my husband is an engineer, thankfully, and he has had to figure out the best way to lay these things out. But they're very popular. I have a different cube class and in different sizes. I actually taught 2 years ago a 9-sided cube type thing, which there again, I just told husband to figure it out. You know, tell me where the squares go. and then, you know, you had to get your piece of paper you cut up so you made it come together correctly. But they're very popular because you don't have to pay to have it framed or finished. It's all done from the outside. And, you know, they're fun. I'm teaching a shining needle right now with this year's Christmas 2020, and it's a 3-sided thing that folds all up. And people really, let's face it, a lot of us do not do well with glue. I wear glue. So if I can finish without glue, I am really happy. It is one of those interesting things that so I I was looking at some other new shape to do for proposals because they're all due the end of January, and trying to think of stretching it out and making it diamond shaped or something, right? But yeah, you know, this is when you just start drawing on the paper and cutting it up to see what you come up with. And it's good to have an engineer around to say, I want to make it do this. How does that happen? So I'm looking at what else. So then for a very big break from what I do, I decided to do an angel.
Oh, yes.
So I liked Nan's angel because she made her head bigger. It looked really nice. And she's so good. She lets me see it and sends me pictures of them because I love to see them finished. But so this was my first thing besides a butterfly that was supposed to look like something. So I was fairly happy. I cannot tell you how long I sat around fiddling with the shape of the wings, right?
Mhm.
But she came out nicely. And there's
Yeah.
the blue version. And for me, that was really a departure, but I'm happy. It worked. The head is the biggest problem. So I was really happy with her. I kept going around asking people, what does it look like?
Did they give you the right answer?
Yes, they did for this one. For the new one, they kept telling me it looked like a seahorse. So I had to change that one. Like, it's just because the skirt makes a loop doesn't mean it's a seahorse. So sometimes it doesn't work the way you might want it to. But I'm trying to get out of the box. I find it to be confining. And as you can see with this one, it's on black, so she shows up, but it is actually a tree topper. And so that gives you options too. You don't have to spend $450 framing it. The frame's not shown on this, but it's mother of pearl and it's gorgeous, but it was expensive. So I try to give some different options that make it cost about, a fifth as much to get it finished as a tree topper.
It's pretty.
Anybody have any questions?
I have a question.
Okay.
When and where will you be teaching the angel next?
The angel next is, well, we just finished doing it in Denver. I am teaching it in 22 in Norfolk. And I was supposed to teach it next year, but it's been canceled. And I did it at what? Where was it, Nan? Canvas. That's when we did it this year.
Yeah.
It seems so long ago, doesn't it?
Forever.
But shoot me an email and ask about it. And usually I keep a list of people that want the kits and I can let you know. She might show up on Shining Needle in 22 as well. Because I try not to put anything on Shining Needle that still has active teaching dates. But she's fun. Now in, where are we next year? Kansas City, I'll be teaching the new angel next year. And a really cool piece, this little guy I'll be teaching in Kansas City.
Which one?
So it is actually a wooden frame and you finish each piece individually and plop them in there. So this was a labor of love because you had to line your canvas up in the opening and make sure it was straight and draw on it and then go to your computer and plot all the points. So it's really cool and I like it, but it was a lot of work.
And the frame comes, if you take the class, the frame comes with it.
Yep. And the instructions. And my husband actually framed it for me. So he will do it if you want him to for a price.
Did he make all the frames too?
No, I got it on Etsy. You should see the collection I have trying to decide what one I wanted to do. And the first one I got of this was like 19 by 18 or something. Anyway, the first one I got was probably, I didn't read it. It was 36 by like
Oh.
24. It's like, oh my word, I don't have enough thread to stitch the openings in that one. But I like it. It's different. So hopefully they're supposed to be getting back to me with a custom made frame that I can, will be just mine and I can put things in it, which would be
Cool.
a sort of interesting thing to do, right? No.
And then you're teaching at EGA in Chicago, right?
Yes, but for the first time ever, I'm teaching that piece there, the little ornament, but they already canceled this class.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, I know. I sat there and when Jane called, I was like, really? I think it's the coolest thing I've ever done. But apparently not, but I'll run it through A&G for seminar 22. I have a piece of a necklace made from computer components that are in this sort of shape. So it's 3 different pieces and I put metal between them so you can move them around with magnets and all. And it's sort of fun. I really liked it, but I get to teach studio time, but I get to go, so I'm not going to complain.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So I can go and have fun and not have to do anything but teach a little ornament. And this guy comes in 3 different, it's not really colorways because it's the same threads. You can do it on blue, green, or red. And then you'll get the pearls will stay the same, but the crystals will change. It's very pretty in person. So that's next year pretty much. And then we're on to proposals. And I'm having fun drawing things. If I only had some little elves in the basement to stitch, it would be great.
So right now you're doing designing mostly teaching pieces versus retail pieces?
Yeah, it becomes hard if you say that A&G is 7 days and EGA is 5. That's 12 days of pieces that you need to have proposals for. For teaching classes, very seldom do I do more than 2 colorways, just because I'm not a store and, trying to keep all the different threads in stock becomes a problem. But it's hard to get the stitching done and get the designs made. Now this year I've caught up since I've been home, since I was at Nan's wonderful house. I came home and that's been it. We haven't gone anywhere. But it becomes hard. So then this one right here maybe a retail piece. I'm trying to think of another colorway, and I'm sort of thinking lavender and then dark blue and then something that pulls the lavender and blue together. What do you think?
Yeah.
Any takers on that? Any suggestions?
Like it.
What about 3 even colors? The 3 primaries or 3 jewel tones, something where they each have the same amount of weight.
Yeah, that's a good idea. When I looked at my piece, this piece is solid brown, so that's what I was doing, but obviously you can break out of that mold. Nothing says you have to do that. So that's very interesting, and it's very interesting how you get logged into that being darker because you saw the original that way. Does that make sense? But it doesn't mean you should stay that way. You should definitely try different things. So I'll have to think about that.
I had
No.
another question come through. They wanted to know if you'd thought about doing the angel skirt as an ornament just by itself without the wings.
Oh, you could. It's, how big would you say it is? 6 inches, Dan, the skirt? But it would work.
Possibly. My angel is out at the finisher, so I don't have it with me.
Yeah, and I don't have one up here. But you could. I have so many ornaments that I hadn't thought of it, but you can always take some, even if you hung it, upside down, and then you could put a dangle on the bottom of the triangle, that would work.
Oh, yeah.
You can make an ornament out of anything. See all these right here, right? Each of these little things could be an ornament, as could the inside here, or these guys, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kurdy,
The long
I
set-
have mine if you want me to go get it.
Yeah,
Sure.
I think it's about 6 inches.
I'll go get it because I can't tell you.
I know it's you look at it all the time, but I haven't measured just that part of it. So another idea I was thinking of, and I have not really gotten, we're just going to blip through these this way because it'll be easier. Oops, too far. So I did this cathedral piece, and it was fun because it's on the spray painted canvas and all. So I'm trying to think of a way to take a middle, right? And two side pieces and frame them all individually, but hinge them so that they would come in.
Oh, cool.
What do you think? I mean, is that
Cool.
uh,
I think that'd
So-
be cool as an icon or triptych.
yeah, exactly.
In
You know,
fact, go ahead.
it just struck me that it could be really nice to sit on the table and have it turn, or on a mantle or something. So,
Kurdy, I think you're right. I bet it's about 6 inches.
look
Can
how
you
far
see it?
you've gotten.
Hold it up a little bit higher, Sarita.
There you
Thanks.
go. There you go.
Does that work? Can you
Yep.
see it or?
Yeah,
Cool.
that is good size.
It
You're
is good
coming right
size.
along.
Yeah, and I had to put it down to finish something to get in the mail, so I love
No.
doing the wings.
I got two that need to get in the mail, and I'm in the middle of trying to decorate, and it's like I gotta sit and stitch. Maybe there'll be New Year's ornaments.
So you spray paint the canvas? Is that what I heard you say?
So this one is spray painted. I'm gonna say the gold, yeah, because you can see the little sparkles still. So I'm gonna say the like ecru and gold canvas. I spray painted this one gold on top, and then, oops, too far. This one I spray painted bronze. Because as we were talking about earlier, for some reason, I don't know what I saw, but I wanted the cream colors on the bronze. That's what I wanted to see. So I decided that there's nothing saying that you can't do it. And
I like your
This one-
stockings too.
yes, aren't they nice? This one is gold as well. Spray painted gold. And this blue one's very similar to your angel, Sarita, the same colors and everything. I might have pirated that from there. And this one is spray painted the bronze as well. I'm cutting back a little bit on that though, because when I had for a class that's going on right now, I needed like 78 kits of 12 by 14 canvas spray painted. Do you know how much canvas that is in your backyard? It was just like, okay. My neighbor that smokes his pot all the time outside, he was like, what what are you doing over there? I'm getting stoned. And I'm like, yeah, yeah, Jason. But it allows you to come up with colors we don't have that much of. Here, I took the rose blush canvas and just did a very light coating of rose gold paint on that one. And the blue one has a little bit, depending on what I could find, because this year spray paint's been a problem, a little bit of either opalescent or silver on the canvas. It allows you different options. So, and it's fun. I do have one class where you did the 9-sided ornament and you got to paint the middle. Let me see if I can pop that one up here. Oops, the wrong.
I'm gonna get you if you don't get out of here.
Go back here more. Okay. That's not what you want. It's just popping up this way. Oh, well, it doesn't want to come up. Let's see. Copy.
Did you have that open before you were sharing, or?
I just copied and pasted it, so hopefully it should. Oops,
Okay.
wrong way. I got to use my arrow keys again. Where did I plop it in here? Oops, I went past it. Did it not show up? That's interesting. It's on my one over there, but it's not on this. Oh, wow.
Sometimes Zoom doesn't like it if the window's not open when you before you start sharing.
That's the reason I have them all done already, right? Yep.
Yeah.
So we'll have to look at that another day, but imagine a cube with a second row, and then you painted, you painted the middle section. So it had a section here and then a section below, and you got to paint this middle section, a contrasting color in class, just to let people play, right? Sometimes, unless someone tells us we can do it, we're afraid to play, I found. And as you can see, I like to play. If I could sit at my computer and draw all day, that's what I would do. But unfortunately, people want instructions to go with the pictures and things like that. It's just very tedious.
Yeah, needs a little help more than just the picture.
I know, exactly. But it takes up so much of your time that you could, but you know, you have to stitch it to write it up too, right? Because I was talking with Carolyn, she would do hers numerous times to write each stage up. You know, that's the problem. So,
how's the eyeball?
The eyeball is doing well. I am going to take a picture of it and shoot it to you because I know you want to see it. But
I do want to see it.
Gone through anything anywhere, I won't plop it out here, but it came out magnificently once it was framed. I really like it, but it really needs a name, so you got to think of a name.
Okay, something different than eyeball.
Yeah, something, or everyone in my house calls it the Death Star. That's not a very good one either. So.
No, that's not good either. Send me a picture. I'll see what I can come up with.
I like it. Nancy did a great job choosing the frame for it down there at Frame It. It came out really nicely. So,
cool.
Any other questions?
Anybody else have any questions? You can either put them in the chat or come off mute.
I have a question. I noticed, I've seen the wooden frames that you do, the segmented ones because you were working on them and things. And I would, even in your very earliest one, I can't remember if it was the first or the second, you had the mat that was cut
Yes.
like a window tracery, and the ones that are called cathedrals that are like rose windows and things. I just sort of, do you find those inspiring in a particular way, or they just seem like such a common theme? And I wondered if you had any comments about that.
Yes, exactly. So the cathedral one was basically supposed to be the cathedral window, right? And let's get to that one. Wow. So I started with the star in the middle and went out. And then when my actual next retail design, I did this one because we went from the window, does that make sense, to the whole cathedral? Or that, I think, you know, it's all a process, right? And you have to draw what's working for you at that time. So with cat's eyes, you know, it started with the octagon and moved out very symmetrically. And then out here, and I cannot for the life of me tell you now why I decided it should have corners. But Dawn Hunter up in Longmont, I used to go stitch up there at the Stitcher's Garden, and she framed it. And she told me if I left an inch, right, in between, we could do these with the mats. It's just interesting, isn't it? And it makes me wonder what our subconscious is telling us.
Lots of people do irregular outer edges, but I haven't seen anybody that's done as many segments covered by other things as I have in your work. And I just think it's really interesting.
Thank you. Yeah, it's just fun sometimes to play and see what happens. So I showed you the cat here. Now we're gonna blip forward to this guy, and I think your eyes are humorous. So if you imagine these round one as eyes, it makes an owl, and here is another owl down here with its little head and its stomach. It just makes me wonder why each person likes certain things and why we're drawn to certain things and how they sometimes seem to appear in our work, right? But it's just interesting. I love doing different colorways. Debbie Rowley, who is a very, very good friend of mine, so I'm not saying anything against her. She says that she can't understand how I can stitch the same thing 2 or 3 times. But see the difference the color makes? I did one first that was very jumbled. I did this one that I liked. But by the time I got to this one, notice that I was being more conscious of the color, like going across here, and these are the darker and these are the lighter. And the star I wanted to show up better than it did over here. Even when it's outlined, it sort of fades, right?
Mhm.
So here we started light and went very dark. But those are things I learned by stitching it 3 times, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
So
It does, and it makes it more interesting because I've seen charts where the designers say, if you want to make your own colors, here's the formula. You know, you need a medium dark of this, and so they all sort of look the same, whereas yours look like they're conceived differently. And I would assume that that appeals to different people.
exactly. And you know, I love Jean Hilton. She did wonderful things, but I am not a lavender person. And she was, right? So color makes a difference. And I think by having more than one colorway, you allow people to see it differently, right? When I would do trade shows, this is seasonal rays. So guess what? It has 4 colorways, and this is the summer one. Okay, it's a box. You've seen a lot of my others. They don't look like a box. I would have store owners come in and see this on the red canvas with white threads and not realize it was the same design. Because so often we stop at the color. We don't continue in to see the design, if that makes sense. It would just amaze me that you could look at this and not realize that the sort of seafoam green one and the purple and turquoise ones were the same ones because they're all in the same mat. But people will be very drawn to one and not drawn to another. So that's why I started doing the 3 colorways, because I didn't want you to just look at not like the color and continue on.
Birdie,
Mm-hmm.
I stitched one of your Christmas bell ornaments on the dark green canvas.
Yep.
And I'm looking at it right now on my
Are you?
Christmas tree, yes. And
Excellent.
I did the center one,
Okay.
and it sparkles so pretty on the tree. The
Oh, I'm so
picture
glad
doesn't
to hear that.
Yeah, the picture doesn't do it justice, but I love that ornament.
These are so popular. It is amazing. And I did them right after Pangea, because when I did this today, I actually went to the website that has everything by the year, right? Because I can't remember what year I did anything. And I love these little ornaments. I keep thinking I should do something similar again, but
Well, I have the enough green canvas to do 2 more. I just haven't got to it yet.
yeah, that's the whatever of all our lives, isn't it? But I'm
Yes.
glad that you're looking at them and it's sparkling.
Yes, I am. I'm looking right at it.
That is excellent, because my daughter, I have a little skinny tree that stays in my studio. Those of you that have come and helped this fall get me kurdy organized. She took all the stitched ornaments off of it, moved it into the family room, and said it's going to be the butterfly tree this year.
Oh,
It's like, where'd you put my ornament? And she just threw them in a box. But ornaments are a big thing. I like to do ornaments because, like with Nancy, it gives you a way to try it. Does that make sense? If you don't feel like, I never can find my mouse if you're wondering what I'm doing. If you think that's a bit much to jump into, right? An ornament like that, or like, I don't want to go past that, is easier bites, right? Because you only have to do this much at a time. So to try to convert people, I think it's nice to give them choices. When you go to the, other way, all these stockings here, I knew that a lot of people wouldn't want to do the whole stocking topper, and it shows up best here on mine. Could you guys guess that the gold and white was mine? So all of these little motifs can be stitched separately as ornaments. So that gives you an option, because this is a lot of work. And I started these in September and got this one back from the framer right about the 10th or 12th of December. So I got them all done, and my friend Sue got them all finished. But don't look at this one really carefully, because by the time I was on to number 4, I wouldn't say it's even the same design possibly, but it is stitched and it hangs by the fire. And Connor has a girlfriend now. How serious do they have to be before I make her one? Because it's a lot of work.
I think married.
Yeah, I'd say married.
Exactly. And at least they don't have names on them. So if they get divorced, I can steal it back. What? Anybody else have any questions? Is everybody all decorated for the holidays? Yeah, that's horrible. I have boxes everywhere.
Oh. So when is the tentative move date, if everything goes according to plan?
Well, it's interesting you should ask that because we were there. Do you know that all the architects are booked up? The earliest we could get two of them will be March and one is September of next year to start. So we're working that way. John and I are sort of at a disagreement as to when to sell the house. And I'm like, I don't know, honey. Property values are so high. I'm ready to sell it come spring. But so probably start building if everything works okay, sometime October next year to the spring of 22.
Where are
So
you building?
my father has some property in Southwest Virginia on the Little River, and he has about 50 acres, and there's an old cabin there. And he said that we can tear the cabin down and build there. It's great. It's at the end of a private road, in-state maintenance. It's only one cabin past us that they go out there maybe 4 times a year. So 54 acres. If all works, it'll be good. You guys can all come to Virginia to visit. So,
Okay.
yeah, no. And there were otters there, Laurie, this time.
Oh, how cool.
I know there were 4 of them. My niece had posted pictures this summer, and I went down one morning and something was chirping, and Kiska was so intent. And there were 4 of them, like I guess 2 parents and 2 babies, because one of the babies caught a fish and the other one was trying to take it away. So that was really cute. Kiska loved chasing deer. So, and she still didn't get the pig to play with her. she just doesn't get that pigs don't play, but it
Kurdy,
was.
where, oh, this is Marge Kelly. Where is your retail business? I know that you sell to stores. So where do you do the kits and all that stuff? Do you do it from your house?
My husband will tell you I've taken over about 1,000 square feet of our house, if not more.
Okay.
My poor son's bedroom right behind me. First, Kieran kicked him out of the basement when she moved home, and he's up here. And now, if you could walk in that room, I give you credit because I boxed up 108 kits and left to go to Virginia, and we're still waiting for Krynick. So my wonderful,
Oh, wow.
lovely daughter put the Krynick in all the boxes, sealed them up, and took them all to the post office.
Wow.
So I might give her a Christmas gift.
Nice, nice.
So yeah, so it's a disaster, but yes, kitting takes a lot of space. And there've been so many kits this year because everyone's at home, right?
Right.
And wants things to stitch.
So we've been hearing that it's difficult to get supplies that the teachers.
Yeah.
I know. I guess it's an understatement. But where are they coming from that it's so difficult? Where are the supplies?
Well, so each of my kits that has gone out this year has a list of substitution in your kit. Let's see, Rainbow Gallery's big one was Capri. Capri apparently comes from Japan.
Okay.
So those shipments weren't coming. Access Commodity for the Angel, which I had 2 classes this year, Denver and Phoenix. They did not have the spools to put the soie perlé on. And Krynick, Doug Krynick, who was a wonderful man,
yeah,
but he decided that he would help out with the mass situation and change some of his braiding machines to making elastic.
All right.
So now Krynick for the next 2 or 3 months is only going to braid their top 60 colors. Of course, for the kits that just went out, 2 of them weren't on there, so I got even more substitutions. I had already bought, I didn't care if it was a 4 or an 8. I bought all that Witch Hilt had and all that Fleur de Paris had. And I was waiting on the Krynic to finish them, so that's what Kiernan had to put in. And I ordered ahead. As soon as sign up started, I did like 3 days of sign up, saw the blue was leading. I ordered 100 blue and 50 of the other 2 colorways. And, 8 weeks later, they're still like, oh, that box is still in shipping. Like,
God.
yeah. So, it's been hard because like the spools come from China or somewhere, and just
Right.
because everything got shut down, right? And Rainbow Gallery and Fleur, they're in California. So when the first lockdowns went in to effect, they were going in like at night to fill orders every other day because they weren't even supposed to be there. So it has been very interesting. I try to tell all my students that don't worry if it's a 4 or an 8 or a elegance instead of a grandeur. Just be glad you got the color you want, and
Right.
and smile and go on, because it is never changing. And now just wait, I'll get all the back orders and I'll have enough Krynic to do 300 ornaments, but it's just been fun.
Gloriana's been really bad too. I'm still waiting for the creme de la creme for yours, Kurdy, but I'm waiting for some colors that I ordered back in June. So, it's.
If you need it, just shoot me your address. I have tons, because for that class, there are 102 of you. And so I think I sent out 82 kits. I told her way before sign up started, that I would be doing it. And because you get 2 skeins, I just went ahead and ordered, I think, 150 skeins just so I'd have it, because she gets behind, So
What's that one back behind you? The
Here.
rectangular one above
This one?
Pangea.
That's
No, I
that's
took your
a
sharing
trilogy
down.
of stitches one.
It looks like a fish.
Yeah, it can hang sideways or up and down, vertically or horizontally would be the words, Kurdy. It's sort of a fun one, Some do really well and others don't do as well, but it's always interesting. My theory is you just have to be able to try different things, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, next time you'll do something different. And this is the other one of Pangea, right? So this is the chocolate and raspberry.
I stopped your sharing. If you're showing something sharing, I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, no, it's just in the background here.
In the background.
Yeah.
That's pretty too.
It has all my junk behind it, so I just, instead of trying to move the computer or do it on my laptop, I decided I'd just try to cover up some of my junk. And I ordered so much toner that I don't even have room for it on the shelves behind me. So, but I don't want to pay Uncle Sam but so much money, so I might as well lay in a big supply of toner before the end of the year.
Yep. Any other questions from anyone?
You guys are really quiet.
They are really
Well,
quiet.
I actually have one for you, Kurdy. I'm never at a loss for questions, okay?
That's okay.
So this year has been a very different year with the use of Zoom and technology and everything, right? I can't remember. I was in one of your classes. Do you use technology at all in your in-person classes?
I always have my document camera, laptop, and projector.
Right.
So I can demo right there. So now actually I have it set up right over here. I did a class with the Cincinnati EGA, and they did the same thing. They spotlighted me. I demoed the stitches, and it's just like a class. I also have stitch videos on the website. So if you go to the website, Friedels.com, and scroll to the bottom on that left-hand menu, you'll see stitch videos. So that way people can refresh their memories when they're done.
Right. So for you, teaching online or through Zoom was a step, but not a big hurdle because you're so familiar with the technology. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, that's very fair, because I just have to go down in the bottom here where it says start video, right?
Right.
Click on that, and then my document camera pops up.
Right. But
So-
did you find anything new or interesting because of it? Because we're all finding so many new things and interesting things that it's amazing. I'm just curious as to if you found anything new with the technology that is helpful in your teaching or.
Not really, because it's pretty much exactly the same way I've done it,
Right. Okay.
just doing it not in person. But I haven't done but so many classes now, and I have tons of people wanting info for next year
Right.
because it's really starting to take off, and I think it might be the new wave, because you can now get a class without having to pay travel and upkeep of teachers, right? I mean, so I think groups will be more open to doing a workshop.
Yeah, I think it'll be more of a mix. And I mean, this is my thinking. And I think even when we go face to face, because of all the social distancing we've been experiencing, right? We're gonna see teachers, I think, using more technology in the classroom, showing how they're stitching it on a screen, because you don't want 20 people over your back, breathing on you. You know what I mean? So I think it's face to face is going to be great, but there's going to be more technology in the classroom. That's what I think.
No, I think you're 100% right. I embraced the document camera right after Tony Gerdes showed it to me at my NANS certification classes, because it's very tiring to say the same thing 5 times in a row with 5 people looking over your shoulder each time.
Right.
And it takes so much longer, right?
Right.
Yeah, because by the time you'd finish the whole class, the first people are ready for the next stitch. So I think that just from what I have done with other teachers, a lot of people are looking into things to do.
Right.
And I think it'll be interesting. Everybody's going to love going back to see their friends, but
God, yes.
Yeah, oh, definitely, please. But it does let us reach smaller groups, right?
Mm.
Right.
Because I am going just like A&G did in the fall with their online classes. I'm going to a $40 a student thing for online. So if it's a little group, they know exactly what it's going to cost them for a 2-day class, right? It'll be $40 a person plus a kit. For like our Greeley group, right? That it leaves you something you can afford for these smaller groups to do.
Right.
Nothing I don't think will ever replace going, and everybody loves to go and see and talk, but I think this is going to allow more people access. And that was the feedback I got from A&G, my students this fall, was that many of them could not afford to go to seminar, and this allowed them to do a seminar piece right at the beginning, right? So look, I turned it off, but it's actually ringing. So I think it'll be very interesting going forward. I am hoping that we will get to do both seminars in 21, but I don't think anything's going to happen before that. I've already had a May and June cancel for next year.
Right.
So, yeah, don't think it'll, I think August for ANG would be the first, because it's going to take a while to vaccinate people.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I think we're all going to have little cards that say we were vaccinated, sort of like the dog. Maybe we could get tags to wear around.
Should say, be nice to me, I got vaccinated.
Exactly.
Somebody should stitch that for me.
Exactly.
Nice to me.
You know, so now my sister's going to call on the house phone. John, get that. There, I hung up on her. Hey, after just spending 3 weeks with family, you're about ready to hang up on them. You love them, but you know, it's always fun. But I think it'll be interesting when we do have our little things. I know that in Europe, if you want to go to the movie theaters, you have to have your little vaccination tag. I know, so it should be interesting. I want a pretty one with sparkles on it. And then we can make a little necklace with it and wear it around and hold it
A
up.
little bit of glitter always helps.
That's what we'll need to make the necklaces, a holder for it. Stitch the
Yes,
holders
yes.
for it.
That's it. We can stitch something. You guys want to see something really cool? We did not go to Tucson, right? But look at how nice our name tags were.
Oh,
Oh, how pretty.
And see, it's a little bead. Isn't that nice?
oh, that's cute.
It's
Cute.
adorable. I don't know why they didn't just keep them for 22 myself, but you know, isn't it cute? I'll have to wear it to a meeting if we ever have those again.
Actually, I think the reason for Tucson is that's an anniversary year, so they changed the theme.
Ah, that could be. That could
Yeah.
be. It's just such an adorable name tag, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it shall be interesting in the next few months to see what we end up doing and going. And Nan, who knew when we were there? Everything was just happening. It's so funny. And they dropped me at the airport to come home, and there wasn't like any cars there. It was like, what is happening? And what was that, like March 14th or something?
It was March.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We had just
March,
gotten,
and the Monday after you left, the governor shut us down.
Yeah, no, and because we're all just talking about what's going to happen, and it just all fell right after that.
Yep.
Yeah, as we were having fun and it just quit, man.
I'm glad we did it.
I am too, because otherwise, oh. And I just finally, the weekend after when I was with you guys, I was supposed to go to Phoenix. Just finished that class up online finally.
Wow.
They kept trying to delay it.
Wow.
And they had all 23 kits. I wanted some money. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you're holding my kits hostage. Thank you. So
any other questions?
Everybody have a good holiday season if we don't see anyone before that.
Yeah.
Thank you too.
Thank you so much, Kurdy.
Oh, thank you guys. And if anyone wants to come to my house, we can wear masks. You can put up decorations. It'll be great fun.
Okay, we'll take you up on that.
Trudy. Thanks, Trudy, very much.
Thank
This was
you.
fabulous.
Thank you,
Bye,
Kurdy.
guys. It's good to see
Bye-bye.
everybody.
Take care, everyone.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Fair.